Bam. Yeah, Neighbors of Nomad, NYC. Hello, I'm Ian. Outside of work, you can find me wandering social events in New York in colorful shirts and having a good time. Um, my situation. I live in the Nomad neighborhood in New York City. Most people don't know where that is. If you know what the Empire State Building is, I'm like right over next to it over here. So just kind of like very dense. Thankfully, not like in the middle of the chaos of the skyscrapers back there, but it's quite a place. Um, I live in a 5-story walk-up apartment that I think is turning 100 years old today, or not today, but like this year. And this is about 12 units in total. I believe about 2 bedrooms per unit. So my building has about 24 people in it total. So it's kind of a smaller sort of situation that I'm working with. My mission. What was my mission? Yes, I always had this idea that kept bugging in my brain of like, I would just love it if when I'm walking through the hallways and I see another one of my neighbors, I can be like, oh, hello, James, and just like have that nice little small touch of wholesomeness in my life. And anything that could get above that of like maybe doing events or having opportunities for people to offer things for each other just felt like also a wonderful thing to have. Um, so on my end, getting started, I was very nervous about this whole idea of doing door knocking. So initially, I found a cop out where I would make these flyers. I kind of like listed out my full manifesto of what I wanted to do here, and create like a WhatsApp group chat and like have a place where people could share things. And then I made this picture of me holding the QR code. Um, and then I wrap these up in these envelopes, and then I tape these envelopes on every single door in my apartment building. And ideally, the neighbors would open it up and be like, wow, look, it's my neighbor doing things. And this worked. Currently, I believe I got over half the people in the building in the WhatsApp group chat. So I found that to be a success in and of itself. So after I did that flyer, I made a separate flyer that I could put in my apartment hallway because there were some people that moved in and I didn't know what unit they were in. So I just thought I would just catch them in the hallway. And this one I think I put in here. Yeah, here's another weird flyer. So this one's probably easy to read, but just basically announcing like, hey, there's a WhatsApp group chat. And then kind of giving them a bunch of reasons or ideas as to what they can do with the group chat. So like lending support, asking for things, recommending local services or restaurants. We had a good conversation recently about trying to find like good places to do laundry. Yeah, so that's that kind of the basic premise is kind of like bringing in like the bit of the wholesome vibes we're trying to cultivate, and then also giving people the opportunity to figure out like what they can even do with this. Yes, the dream is alive. This is the part where I talk about things that are going on. One of the things that I found useful early on was that when I'm like walking in and out of my apartment, sometimes I would see that there's a bunch of people like trying to move in. And I would just like offer like, hey, y'all need a hand with anything? And oftentimes they felt like they didn't want to take me up on that offer. But at least like it showed like a good pro-social signal. And one of those people that I offered to help with was like, well, I got the covered for now. But then later on, she offered to go on like a coffee chat. And we wound up doing that like multiple times thereafterwards, where we would just like go to the nearby park in the fall and enjoy the weather and talk about life. And it was very wonderful. At some point, I thought I would try to get more ambitious. And so I organized an event where we would go to that same park. I was going to do like half picnic, half scavenger hunt, and have an opportunity to allow like our neighbors to mingle and such. Admittedly, I got 0 RSVPs, but I just kind of like reset my framework on it and thought, worst case scenario, I'll just show up at the park, have my own little picnic. And if nobody shows up, that's fine. And that's exactly what happened. I just got to like sip my coffee, just in journaling, enjoy like watching people around and do things. And it turned out to be one of the better days I had in a long time. So that was solid. Thanks, reframing is a good thing. But yeah, apart from that, one thing that has been successful is that my roommate and I may host events such as on our rooftop, like where we did a pumpkin carving party. And we would just toss in the WhatsApp group chat being like, hey, if you're our neighbors, if y'all want to come on up, you can. And I think we wound up having a couple people come up, including somebody from the next door building that I haven't reached out to yet about any of this. And he was like, whoa, what's going on? And we just like invited him in and it was a good time. Also, one thing that's worked very effectively for me, I like to do home cooking. So I have a strategy where I'll post in the WhatsApp group chat. being like, oh no, I made too much delicious flatbread pizza. Y'all should come over and have some. And that's been successful. The last time I ran this, our upstairs neighbor came down to introduce herself. And then my roommate and her started brainstorming ideas for doing like cooking collaboration with Indian cuisine. So that was a lot of fun. Um, Also, one of my favorites, there was a moment where my neighbor wanted some soy sauce because it was cold outside and she didn't want to go outside. And within 1 minute, another one of our neighbors was like, I got you, which I just absolutely adore. Um, Also, within like the past couple weeks, there was somebody who independently, I had no influence on this, was just like, hey, I would love if everybody came over to the apartment to like come by and say hi, which is wonderful. It's great to see like other people taking initiative on this stuff. Um, so yeah, that's been some major highlights on my end. Um, and that's me. Thank you.
Oh, let's give it up for Ian.
Yay!
Tell that you get off mute and just express the joy of that for me. That was so good. Oh, woo, woo, woo.
So cool, yeah.